Achilat matza, here we are. Mitzvah Yud. Who's going to read?
You can read.
I can read.
You may read. Yes.
לאכול לחם מצה בליל 15 בניסן העשוי ממין דגן. So eating lechem matzah, which basically means, I guess in that context, like lechem mishnah. It's not bread. It's not the bread of matzah. Is it more like the portion of matzah? Or?
No, it's lechem, bread.
Okay.
That's matzah.
Matzah bread. Okay, fine.
As
Is in the evening
kind
of the 15th of Nisan.
Matzah.
And it says, Benisan ha'asui, so it's made mimin dagan from, I don't know what dagan is. A type of mimin, a type of...
Right, type of dagan. Dagan is grain.
Okay.
Halachically, it's cereal grains.
Okay.
So we know there are 5 cereal grains.
Yep.
Right, chita seora, shifon kusmin, what's called in the Gemara kusemet, and now we call it kusmin, and shibol shual. So in English, that's wheat, barley, rye, spelt, and oats. Those are the only cereal grains. This is not a strictly halachic thing. This is a botanical, biological, well-known. These are the only grains known to man that contain gluten, and therefore can be made into bread without artificial leavening agents.
Shnema, erev tochlu matzot. So as it says, in the evening you eat matzah. I'm guessing that's a quote, but I don't know where it's from.
That is...
I can look actually go...
The quote
Shemot.
Is from the parasha that we're learning now.
Shemot,
we're in parashat Bo.
Yeah, parasha Bo. Okay.
So it would have to be from the parasha.
Okay, fair. Perusho leil 15 Nisan, and the perush, the meaning of this is that you'll eat it on the evening of 15th Nisan.
Right, the perush of what word?
The be'erev.
Right.
Yeah.
What does it mean when it says ba'erev? It means, because that's the context of the pasuk.
Yeah. Bein bizman sheyeh sham Pesach, or bizman shelo yeh Pesach, shelo yeh sham. Between the time, whether there's a Pesach or no Pesach?
Whether there is or isn't, right? It's not the between, but it's whether or not.
Okay.
So, intuitively, this is in this mitzvah is given in the context of Korban Pesach. So we might think, I would think intuitively that it's part of Korban Pesach. So I'm not doing Korban Pesach. I don't have to eat matzah if I'm not hungry, if I don't want to wash. So Chazal understood that this is its own mitzvah, even independent of Korban Pesach.
משעשע מצווה זו מה שכתוב בקורבן הפסח. I mean, just what you just said though.
Yes.
You say separate. This says the root of this mitzvah is about within the context of what's written about Korban Pesach.
Well, right. He writes the whole idea behind Korban Pesach in one place.
Okay.
And then all the other mitzvahs that are just details of the Korban or otherwise related to it, he doesn't repeat that original logic.
So din mitzvah, the rule or law of the mitzvah, כגון שימור השריך למצות בעניין לשתן. So, כגון שימור, you guard שריך, that you need to have the matzah.
It needs to be watched over, right? It says with something what we call today matza Shmura.
Okay.
Or Shmura matzah if you prefer. And it comes from the pasuk Ushmartem et hamatzot. There's a specific pasuk telling us that you have to watch out and be careful with the matzah. Make sure that it doesn't become chametz when you're preparing it or when you're grinding the grain to make it. And so that's part of this mitzvah of the definition of matzah. It's been watched over.
The inyan lishatan, and then the idea of lishatan.
The kneading.
Okay, so watch over it.
How long No, this is a different
Yeah, so it's
issue.
different, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
watching over it.
It's
Watching
not
over
yeah,
is one thing.
and the manner in which you need it the other.
Right.
Isn't lisha is the meaning? Where's the taf coming from?
Lishatan. Lishat hamatzot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
ובאי זה מים נילושות, and essentially the water
Yeah. Which water?
you use to knead it.
Right. So we know that there's this idea of what's called mayim shalami. There's the water that's been drawn the night before and is tied to chill before you use it.
ושיר אכילתן לכל הפחות, so, and the sure the amount that you, the minimum amount you need to eat.
Mm-hmm.
ויתר פרתיה, מבארים פסח ראשון. And
Can I help you?
yes,
The rest of the details will be explained in,
okay, yeah.
right?
In the
Pesach Rishon means the
Talmud.
first chapter of Masechet Pesachim.
ונוהגת בכל מקום, ובכל זמן בזכרים ונקבות. So that's basically saying that this doing, and this eating of matzah, is applicable all places and all times, and both for zicharim, bizcharim ונקבות, men and women.
Mm-hmm.
ועובד עליך בתל עשה, עשה, so someone who doesn't do it,
Mm-hmm. Someone who doesn't eat matzah.
okay, וחווה אמרנו שבית דין כופין על ביטול עשה. So, so we've already said that the Beit Din
Mm-hmm.
kofin something about negative commandments.
No, this is not negative.
Bitul Naseh. To not do it. So to stop you not doing it.
It's
What they do?
yeah, they coerce. Kofin is coerces,
Okay.
right? The Beit Din uses coercion to make sure people don't reject mitzvot aseh. I think the typical case is when a person declares beforehand. Otherwise, how do you know? It's not like they send people out to watch over you're going to eat the matzah or not. It's somebody who declares publicly that they're not eating matzah this year. And then the Beit Din can use various, what's the word? Various methods. Yeah, that's the word I was going to say.
They have ways to make you talk. Or make
Yeah,
you
I think it's generally, they start with, start with little things. Start with the pinky tip. No, start with social pressure, like cherem, which is also economic pressure.
But I'll say this way, because I'm thinking a mitzvah aseh, in terms of doing a mitzvah aseh, it counts whether or not you've got the kavanah for it, alright? Because what I said I'm thinking here is that if I'm eating matzah only because of threat against me, I'm not eating matzah for the sake of matzah, I'm eating matzah not to have a threat. So therefore, does that still count?
Right, so you're talking about the sugya called mitzvot tzrichot kavana or mitzvot enan tzrichot kavana.
Yeah.
It's a machloket in the Gemara, and the conclusion is that the mitzvot enan tzrichot kavana. There is, every mitzvah has its minimum set of requirements, but doing it for any, having the proper motivation is not one of the requirements. On the one hand, and the other, there are mitzvot that the Torah specifies that you have to, like in the korbanot, it says li'utzonchem tizbachu. You have to want it. You have to bring it miratzon, right? So the Rambam says somebody who asks to bring a korban and refuses, Beit Din makim oto ad sheomer rotzeh ani. Right? There's this very cute trick where you can coerce somebody until they agree and they say, yes, I want to do it. And there are all these like psychological explanations in the Achronim about how a person actually does want to do it, but there's some other reason that he feels like he doesn't want to do it, and then you're just taking that away because you're not giving him a choice, and then he's expressing his real inner desire to actually do mitzvah. So there are a couple like that, but for the most part, mitzvot einan tzrichot kavanah. So we don't, if whatever the reason is, a person is yotze. He did a mitzvah. Specifically, eating matzah, the only way to eat matzah and not do the mitzvah is if you didn't taste it. If you have no hana'ah, right? If you don't have any enjoyment from the eating because you didn't taste it. It's a question about somebody who has COVID or something.
About that. Yeah.
But even the texture, I think, is a kind of tasting. But if you somehow you're able to, put it into your intravenously or something.
You can close your nose. You don't.
Yeah, I think it still counts as taste. Taste is like feeling it, in your mouth.
Some would say the word taste and matzah do not, a bit oxymoron.
Right.
But
awesome.
They have not tasted the matzah that I eat.
No, I like matzah. I enjoy matzah. So yeah, I should say, and I'm not that person.
It has a weedy flavor. No, the example that is brought.
Do you want more matzah, by the way? I've got some at home.
Yes, I would love it.
And it's Shmura.
Beautiful.
So yeah, can't get it from home.
Thank you.
I know your family does. Yeah.
The example that's brought commonly is if somebody were to insert matzah down your throat without you tasting it, taking a bite, without it touching your tongue, your palate, anything, it just goes straight down. You have to obviously be in a solution or something, otherwise you just gag and choke. But so then you're not yotze because it's not even called eating it. Even though you ingested it, you got into your system, but it's not called eating if there's no enjoyment involved. So that's kind of a restriction we have here, but not.
But the fact that they're
not
saying,
the desire, not the.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Here, if you don't eat it, we'll do say whatever to you. Okay, I'll eat it. That is sufficient to fulfill the mitzvah. So even though that individual may be doing it for reasons other than a desire to eat it.
Right. And it's kind of maybe something we can look into at some point. Extra bonus question about kofina mitzvat aseh, bitul mitzvat aseh is kind of an interesting concept. Usually, where we see kofin, it's where it affects other people, right? It's like, well, you do whatever you want in your own home, but giving a get, right? That's a classic example where it affects a woman. She's stuck. She's in a guna. So they force the guy to give a get, and that's something that we do to this very day. If it's in, Brooklyn, they have the Aguna gangs, and if it's in Israel, the rabbinical courts have the power to seize bank accounts. Sometimes they can even get a guy put in jail for a little while. The other example is community taxes, where the Beit Din forces people to pay their dues. So this idea of kofina bitul asi, to me, is surprising. Something I'd like to look into maybe next time I'll be able to.
It's interesting. It is actually, as you say, because it's the.
Like, who cares? It's your problem. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, why are they taking upon themselves to make you do the mitzvah? I said it's one thing putting something up that you do something you can't do, and even that you'd argue is still a personal choice to some extent. But it's even more so where you are positively trying to, I guess, encourage good behaviour, but it's in a way which seems like a lot of hard work and why bother, ultimately, for me.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
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 Hello. Hello. Stop.
We're not. Who's gone for no one coming to everyone here. Look at that. Did your call?
We're making it.
Did your call for more have any impact?
Did mine?
You'll call out for more.
Not that I know of.
No one responded
me.
privately or anything.
Over time, if you keep posting it every week,
Yeah, probably.
we have 3 years to get more.
The 3 years is only a suggestion. It might be 5. I don't.
People will join.
Once you start, you can never stop.
There you
Yeah, basically. So lifetime cycle. Okay, we're in mitzvah Yud Aleph. We just finished the mitzvah of eating matza. You guys don't get matza today. This is next mitzvah is יימצא Chametz ברשותנו בפסח.
No, 11.
got it. Yay.
Oh.
Does everybody have a place?
Sure. Yep, that's it.
Okay, I'll start. שלא יימצא חמץ ברשותנו כל ימי הפסח שנאמר 7 ימים שאור לא יימצא בבתיכם ובירוך חכמים זיכרונם לברכה לאו דווקא ביתו. Okay, so one shouldn't be, chametz should not be found in our property throughout all days of Pesach.
In our possession.
In our possession, bershut. Okay, in our possession. All right, because that could include your car, which is well, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
As it is written, 7 days that Saor should not be found in your homes, and our wise men of blessed memory clarified.
Mm-hmm.
Not only in one's house, but in all of their domain, basically.
Right.
Okay. V'lo davka seor shehu mechametz, du hadin lechametz. Not only is seor, we said that is barley, right? What?
No. Seorah is barley, and that has an ayin.
Okay.
Sheor is the starter dough. It's the leaven itself.
The sourdough stuff.
Yeah, the sourdough starter,
Thank you.
which is not edible, interestingly enough, right?
Right.
Usually we say, like,
Although
this is an
there
exception.
was one Shabbat when my daughter went to get tahina, brings out the tahina,
starter.
puts it on her food, declares it doesn't taste quite right, but still proceeds to eat it all anyway. And it worked out it was a sourdough starter.
And then Lucy had to start over.
She didn't use it all. She was like,
Oh, okay.
And we're like, no, it's fine. We only made the tahini yesterday. It's absolutely fine. And she'd taken the one part out of the fridge.
That's a great story.
That's like a Hasidic story, right? Like something. Yeah, that's fabulous.
So in that case, it was not done, intentionally. She didn't do a low tasek. She wasn't conscientious.
Look,
She was
what
eating
was the...
chametz.
It wasn't Pesach anyway, so it was
Oh,
fine.
was this? Oh.
Yeah, you can't... we're
that would
reading
be-
about how you can't keep it in your fridge on Pesach.
So my wife sells
So
it.
it
My wife does
wouldn't
say she does keeps it in her other fridge and
Oh,
just
yeah.
hopes it doesn't die. She stars it for a week.
Right.
She overfeeds to make it a bit fatter and bloated, and then leaves it for a week to hope that it loses weight but it stays alive.
Okay, which is interesting because all our chametz now has nothing to do with starter, like the classic starter.
Right, so that's the point that's being made here. First, I want to finish my earlier point, that Sheor, which is the leavening, it's a starter dough, it's not something that we usually consider as food. It's like eating straight yeast. Somebody eats the yeast, right? You stick it in the bread, a small amount. Yeast itself, by the way, is not chametz. Yeast is a microorganism. So it's not chametz. The starter dough contains a lot of yeast, but it also is made of chametz. You could buy pure yeast and then it doesn't have chametz in it.
What's interesting here that it defines Saor as something different from chametz. It uses it as an
Well, it says it's
It says
Sheor
Sheor.
that's made from chametz.
but then goes on to say the law of chametz applies, then says the Saor of chametz for Saor and for chametz.
Right,
So
because
it's-
that's
yeah.
what we're trying to
Exactly,
clarify.
yeah, so yeah.
These are two different things.
Yeah.
One is edible,
Yeah.
one is
Oh,
not.
Okay, yeah.
And the chiddush, part of the chiddush about Seor is that even though it's not edible, usually things that are not edible, like chametz, it's not edible. What do we say?
It's not.
It's not. It doesn't count, right? It's not food. A dog wouldn't eat it. Dog wouldn't eat Seor, right? A dog wouldn't eat it, so like, it doesn't count. But this is the exception to the rule because it's what makes it's the source of chametz, right? It's
By the
the
way,
source
I
of
think my
the
daughter,
lead.
it wasn't the kind, it was the sourdough discard. So Lucy, she discards some of it, but she keeps to make crackers.
Right.
It was that which my daughter put on her.
Well, that is really good
That
stuff.
is yummy.
No, before the crackers. were
Yeah,
made.
before the crackers, it's probably
It's just,
putrid.
it's basically putrid and sourdough.
Yeah.
Well done.
But when it becomes crackers, it's amazing.
Okay, should I continue to say or v'chametz chad hu l'inyan isuro? Okay, so this or the starter and chametz is considered the same thing in this consideration.
And that's the point where they're separate but the same.
Right, they're considered
Same,
the
same,
same,
yeah.
and they're both
Independently, same.
chametzdik. They're both considered chametz for all the issues that we have around chametz of you can't eat it, you can't keep it in your house. Right.
משושי המצווה, כדי שנזכור לעולם הניסים שנעשו לנו ביציאת מצרים, כמו שכתוב בשא הפסח. Okay, from the roots of the mitzvah, in order, no, kedai, it's
Kedai.
important, in order to, that we shall remember always the miracles that were done for us upon the leaving of Egypt, as is written, the set of is that said the ram?
When?
Like the set of Abraham and the Akedah?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, but why is there a bet? As it is written
In.
about
In the context of, yeah.
in the context of
Rather than as written in the Torah, it says, yeah. It's not a
okay.
quote, it's
Right.
It's a reference.
a reference to those
Yeah.
quotes. That's what I mean, yeah. That's what I mean.
ונזכור מה שאירע לנו בעניין זה, שמתוך חיפזון היציאה, אפינו העיסה מצה, כי לא יכלו להתמהמה עד להחמיץ, כמו שכתוב ויבוא את הבצק בגומר. Okay, we shall remember what happened to us in the issue of in this issue that now chipazon. What is that word?
So chipazon we ran into before. Does
Yeah.
anybody remember? Chipazon is hurriedness,
Yeah.
is hastiness, right? We were ordered to leave and we had to run out of that right way.
Right. Chipazon.
Not to be confused with chilazon.
Chilazon. I know. I think of that word. All right. In the context of the hurrying of leaving of Egypt, leaving Afinu. What is it? Oh, we baked the dough of matza because in haste. Okay, because in haste, in the haste of the leaving, we baked the matza dough because they could not tarry, thank you, until it became
Till that time to rise, to leaven.
Chametz, it became chametz, as it is written, and they baked the dough, and etc.
Right, it says they baked as they were leaving. Mish'arotam al kitfehem. It says they had like these little portable ovens. They stuck it in and they just kind of walked with it.
Which I still struggle with because it said in Egypt when they were there living there in poverty they ate matzah.
Well, matzah has a number of different.
Yeah, but I'm
qualities.
saying, but it always gives its reason as it's for haste, but in
It's
fact
both.
it's what we were eating anyway. It's all they knew.
It's not necessarily all they knew, but they were accustomed to it.
Yeah, so what I meant,
Yeah,
even if
but
they weren't,
they were-
even if they weren't living in haste, they may have made matzah because that's what they make. It lasts a bit longer.
Tortilla.
It was a tortilla. That's definitely tortilla.
I mean, it wasn't such a big...
But it wasn't pressed.
No, but they roll it
Hand
out
press.
like a waffle.
Yeah.
Did they prick the
It's like
dough
that,
so
yeah.
it wouldn't rise?
Well, so we say
So it wouldn't rise,
Yeah,
or we
just
prick
for it
it,
to-
so
The
it
Hillel-
won't.
what's the
No,
Hillel
that's so
sandwich?
it bakes fast.
What?
They would have
What was
loved
the
it to
Hillel
rise,
sandwich?
but they were in a hurry.
It was,
Yeah, you don't have to
uh,
prick holes in, but
yeah.
that helps it bake evenly.
just like a,
So this,
Probably Schwarm and Lafayette Harif.
this
Yeah.
grammatical
Full
structure,
yeah.
Yeah.
can you just explain, when it says, Afinu esa matza, ki, so it's saying, we baked it, Shemitoch Vazon יימצא, like in the haste of the leaving, we baked the dough of matzah because they couldn't tarry until to let it become.
Rise.
So they baked it immediately, is what it's saying. In the haste, they baked it
There will be
No,
before it rose. Is that what they're
yeah,
saying?
before it rose.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Afino,
Okay, in haste, they baked the matzah before it rose, basically.
Matza.
before it became chametz.
Now,
There's no et in here.
Because,
know.
okay, you know
I'm just
why? Because
fixing
my
it up
brain
here.
is polluted with this idea. They didn't have time to bake the matzah. No, they baked the matzah, but they didn't have time to let it rise. That's the point. That's what
Rose.
confused me. Sorry, it wasn't the grammar, but you can go ahead with what you were going to show.
okay, so in this sentence we have a verb, we have an object. That's where the et comes in. I just added it for clarity and because it's grammatically correct now. What's this?
Matzah.
Yeah, what part of this sentence?
Adjective.
Adjective.
No.
In the form
It's
of
a noun.
No, that's a noun, isn't it? No, yeah. I thought it was a trick question. I think it's a noun, but it can't be given the answer question.
It's a noun, but
It's a
it's
noun, yeah.
functioning as an adverb or some kind of modifier.
Right.
It's not a subject or an object that noun usually be, right? Afino et ha'isa, we bake the dough as matza. I think it's an adverb. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
No, it's an adjective, adverb. Adjective, because it's describing the dough as matzah, not the baking. Is it the baking or the dough which it relates to?
The dough,
So that's a noun, so that's an adjective, it's describing a noun. And that's not a
but
noun.
it's not functioning as an adjective.
It's not really
Because
a
an
noun.
adjective has to look like an adjective. Or it could be some food, but there's no some food
Yeah,
there either,
that's not, yeah.
right? I don't know what you call it, but that's how it works. That's what the intent is.
You know what I'm thinking also?
Yes.
Just real quick and then I'm sorry I have to go. But also of these imaginations in my mind, I'm thinking like matzah was like this discovery because of Pesach. Like I'm sure these women were really busy and whenever they had hungry people to feed, they didn't let the dough rise and they just baked it without letting it rise. And like
Well, that's right.
That's
That's
a kind of
the
meal.
quality of lechem oni.
Come on, yeah, because
That it's very quick to prepare.
they
Which
matzah.
means you don't have time, you don't have the luxury to prepare your dough and then come
Right.
back a few hours later.
More importantly, when did they eat the first matzah? Ignoring what Rashi says about Lot. They ate the first matzah before they left with their
With the
Pesach.
Korban Pesach.
So the Pesach, they ate matzah then. Even before they'd left and didn't have time for it to rise.
Right.
like a quick bread, you know? A quick bread.
Yeah.
It's interesting, okay.
You hanging in there?
Hanging in there, man.
Okay. Who will continue reading for us?
Alan.
Where we at?
Dinei mitzvah.
Dinei hamitzvah. Gon im hafida chemso biyad acharim. מה דינו?
Chametz.
או המצו.
Chametz.
אחר.
Really? Oh, that's a creative
So there.
spelling. Okay.
Okay.
Or typo.
So you know, so the din on the matzah is we're gonna hifkid himso biyad acharim madino. Oh, acharim biyado, וכן חמץ הקדש בידו.
Hektish.
הקדש. Yeah, הקדש, 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 בידו, או של גוי, שכן חמץ הקדש בידו, הקדש, הקדש, 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 הקדש בידו, באחריות שלו באחריות. בדין עקום, אלים שהפקיד לו חמץ, בדין תעבור חמץ אם עוברים אליו. Okay, we got the din of, looks like the laws of the matza. It's like when we drop off in the...
For instance, not like, but for instance.
Kigon, oh, for instance. Right? Kigon is for instance, not like. Kigon, for example. Right? For example, if someone would deposit this chametz in the hand of somebody else, so what would this din be, or someone else in his hand? So
let's say it says lo יימצא chametz bevatechem. Right? I can't have any chametz in my house or in my possession. Right. It says I'll put it in Avram's house, and then he doesn't have any chametz of his own in his house, and I don't have any chametz in my house. We can just trade.
Right? That's what it. So they're saying this is like this and such is that the chametz is like dedicated to the temple.
And also similarly.
Now, similarly, the chametz hegdesh biyado. This is like the chametz of the Beit HaMikdash in his hand.
It's not like it. It's not like it. Similarly, what is the case? What is the din? Mm-hmm. If you have chametz that belongs to hekdesh in your house.
In your house.
Right? In your
possession. Or shel a goy. Be'achrayut. So this goy, you gave it to the responsibility of a goy.
No, it belongs. The chametz belongs to a goy, but I have it in my house. But I have a responsibility that if something happens to it, I have to pay him back. That's achrayut.
Who had the achrayut?
You.
Whoever is keeping it.
Shel goy ba'achrayut.
No, matza shel goy.
You got the, yeah.
Ba'achrayut. V'shel ba'achrayut.
If a non-Jew gives you unleavened to keep for them and look after them, or to keep first to keep in your house, what happens if it gets stolen? Either you're responsible or you're not responsible, or spoilt. And I think this is saying, what is the law where a non-Jew to give you chametz to look after in your house, whether or not you're responsible for it?
No, those are two different cases.
Yeah, whether or not, it's saying the same thing.
It's such that the chametz of the hekdesh in his hand, or shall goy ba'achrayut.
These are all different cases that are being mentioned. Remember, when he says dinei mitzvah, he's just giving us a laundry list of all these different issues that could come up.
And not answering any of
them. And he doesn't give us the answers. He just asks us to bring up the issues.
Okay, so he's talking about, for example, dropping off the matza in the hands of somebody else in their house. Like,
right. Is that
or
still,
what's it din? What's it din?
Or,
acherim
are you keeping somebody else's chametz, another Jew's chametz? Is that a problem? Or if you have chametz that belongs to hekdesh
or shel goy,
is that a problem?
Like you have the achrayot, or shelo ba'achrayot, or that you just take it from you're not responsible. Doesn't matter whether you are, you aren't. The din of an avodah zarah guy, and then you drop off some chametz.
A goy.
Goy.
But a goy alim. Goy alim means that it's somebody dangerous.
Oh yeah.
He's a dangerous fellow.
The mafia come round and say, look after this for me.
Right.
Mafia goy. So the din to over chametz, and what is the din for like getting rid of the chametz?
No, ta'arove. It's a mixture that has chametz in it. It's not strictly chametz, but it contains chametz.
Okay.
Is that also a problem to keep in your house?
Right. Din chametz or ovrim alav, or you pass it on.
Im ovrim alav. Do you transgress by keeping it?
Oh, okay.
Let's say you have, a bread that's half rice and half wheat.
Half rice and half wheat?
Okay. How would that not be chametz?
That's ta'arov chametz.
Well, it depends if you're Sephardi or not. That half of it's is kidney and half of it's chametz.
Kidney is not mentioned in the Torah, so it's not the issue.
You get when you sell your chametz, you can keep
even
as much
Ashkenazim
rice
keep
and
pitnias at Pesach.
and
That's not
hummus.
a problem.
Give me all
Old blues. בחב"ד שיפשה איפשה מדינה.
Right?
So the bread that's what? What's ipsha?
Putrid.
Putrid?
Yep.
And so spoiled bread, right?
Yep.
What's its din? And v'yeta puritea, and the additional details, mevoarim b'Pesach Rishon, that come about in Pesach, the first Pesach.
Explained in the first chapter of Pesach.
They were going to be being enlightened, learning from this Pesach Rishon.
No, it means the
It's all
tract-
explained.
Masechet.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah, mevoarim b'Pesach Rishon. Okay, next.
Yo, I think you're up. Yo, did you have any questions?
My master did that nice.
Yeah. Thanks to him.
ונהגת בסחרים ולכבוד בכל מקום ובכל זמן. This is applicable
Yep.
to all places and all times.
You skipped a couple words there.
ונהגת בסחרים ולכבוד בכל מקום ובכל זמן. These laws, what is
This mitzvah, no heket, the mitzvah, no heket, right?
This mitzvah is applicable to all makom, all places,
Still
and
skipping a couple words. Karim unekevot.
men and women. Yeah,
Did you know that before Rob whispered in your ear?
I actually did know that.
I don't know whether you do shepherd.
אמן. אומר אליה ונמצא חמץ ברשותו ומזיד עבר על שני לווין משום בל יראה ובל יימצא ולוקה כל זמן שעשה בו מעשה כגון שחימץ יישא.
Go back. Started this sentence.
ועובר אליה ונמצא חמץ ברשותו במסיר.
Amazing.
No clue.
Do you need help?
Yeah.
Okay. Over alea. Aleha is the mitzvah.
Yeah.
Right? Someone who is over, as we say in English. You're transgressive. ונמצא חמץ ברשותו במזיד. And he has chametz in his possession.
Oh, yeah.
במזיד, he did it on purpose, intentionally. עבר על שני לאווים. He transgressed two lavim. You remember what lav is?
No.
Lav is the rabbinical shorthand for a negative commandment.
Yes.
Mitzvah, lo tasid, lav is lo in
Okay.
Aramaic, right? Mishum bal yireh, uval yimatzeh. We say mishum, it means due to this mitzvah. So mishum bal yireh, because of this mitzvah, due to this mitzvah, that's one lav. Uval yimatzeh is the second one. The one that we're learning right now is shelo yimatzeh chametz b'rshutenu, so that's bal yimatzeh. Right, there's this possible confusion.
Is there he will see? You will say in יימצא, you will find? Or is that?
You may
Yeah.
not see, and
you may not find, yeah.
Well, it will not be. Okay, so we have two mitzvahs. One says, Lo yireh elecha chametz. And here it says Saor also, separately, V'lo yireh elecha Saor. So it says Lo ye. And the second mitzvah is
chametz won't be seen and chametz won't be found in your house. Or leavened.
Right. This
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
this is also Seor afterwards. Lo yireh lecha chametz velo yireh lecha Seor v'chol givulecha. It says. And that's the end of the parasha. So we'll probably find that one later. But practically speaking, if you keep chametz on Pesach, you've done both. If it's visible. If you hide it away somehow, you don't see it, then it's just about יימצא.
So this is based on being mazed.
Well, he's saying you've transgressed because it was mazed. That means you've transgressed. If you do it by accident, then it's not considered to be a full transgression. But it's still there's two things going on here.
I mean, I'm thinking there's difference between the person who deliberately has it in their house and a person who does a lazy search, doesn't bother open the cupboard which is full of chametz, and I'm done.
Amazing.
In that case, if you do bitul, right? If you say
Yeah, could you do
kol
bitul, yeah.
chamira v'chol chamira, then you're fine, right? The searching of the chametz is a rabbinical
Enactment.
not enactment. It's a safeguard.
Oh.
So that once you do bitul, right? This is kind of funny, but once you do bitul, all of your chametz turns into nothingness, turns into non-edibles, because you declare it as non-edibles. If I consider it as dust, right? So I'm considering it as dust and hefker. There's a different opinions about which one is key here, but we say both. So you basically said, any chametz that I didn't see in my house, it's not mine anymore. It doesn't belong to me, and it's not food.
But
As
if
far as I'm concerned.
if you find your house after Pesach
So-
starts, you can't move it because it's not yours to move. All right?
It's not anybody else's.
It's hefker.
You burn it.
Even if you find it during Pesach.
Yes. Chametz that you find during Pesach, you burn.
When?
Now,
After Pesach?
during
Or-
Pesach. After Pesach, you can also burn it.
So I find a cookie that is seemingly a cookie, but it's been nullified and it's dust.
Right.
So I can take my non-existing cookie that looks like a cookie that happens to be dust, and I can take that in my house, by my kitchen, and I can burn it on Pesach.
Oh yeah, it's not muktzah.
And
By
he
chametz.
could ingest it because it's like dust
No,
now.
no,
It's
no.
no longer chametz.
So
It's not edible.
So eating, possessing is subjective. Eating is not subjective. So if you eat chametz, even though you declared it's dust as far as I'm concerned, if you eat it, you're ingesting chametz.
How's ownership subjective?
Because I can get rid of my property without moving it, without touching it. I can declare it's not mine anymore. It doesn't belong to me.
But
I
it's
have
a
removed
way-
myself from the connection to the property.
I would get it that it's not chametz, it's been nullified, whatever. But it does make sense to me that I can take it and move it and burn it
Oh,
because
it is chametz.
Just not for me.
No, it is chametz. You can't just say that I nullified this cookie and then go, and then all of a sudden somehow ends up in your food. It's like,
Again, that's what I just said. It's the difference between possession and eating.
yeah.
So you still
and
so
again,
it's still
and-
wrong.
and-
So the Joel's-
and- no,
to-
not just eating.
So to
You
Joel's
can
point,
trape up your kitchen.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
still chametz.
Right.
But it's not a problem of bal יימצא.
No, but you're going to be. What you're declaring is this thing is that you're not supposed to own it.
So wait, do I
I
have-
own it, but it's not like this. There was a flying chametz, right? That came, cookie that had, right? Flew into your kitchen. It wasn't yours. It was like some evil, demon or something. Right? Be a problem.
If it's in your kitchen, it's a problem because they
It
don't.
lands in your stuff.
Your food, yeah.
do I
Lands
have
in
to
it.
burn it or can it stay in
Just
my
shoot it down.
cupboard? My non-Pesach cookie.
So you have to get rid of it. You have to get rid of it not because you possess it, because you don't possess it. Once you do bitul,
Because it's
Yep.
found in your home, second.
because you might be tempted to eat it.
Or it could
You have
Would
to
it,
get
would
rid
it
of
be,
it.
or it could
would it be
be
better just to cover it up?
No, or it
Or
could
to
get
On
into
remove
Yom Tov, you cover it up.
Or to
If
move
it's
somewhere it
not
can't be
Yom Tov,
burnt.
you burn it.
Or destroy, yeah, but to move so you can't burn it.
Or on Shabbos, I think you cover it up.
You burn it, yeah.
On Yom Tov, you burn
Yeah,
it.
but
I don't
you
think you
can-
can, because on Yom Tov, it's not ochel nefesh. Burning food is not, making food is not burning. But the point I was trying to make was to get back to the text, is that there's another term here that we didn't go over, and this is the word Baal. Okay, not to be confused with the god of the Canaanites, Baal, which actually means the same thing as it does today. The owner, Baal is, an owner, somebody who's in charge, owns somebody else or something else.
No, but Baal
So all the
also-
Baal actually had a second name, right? We know the Lord of the Flies, Beelzebub, that's Baal Zvuv. That's where the word Beelzebub comes from. That's
I
just
never knew
a
that.
poor reading of Baal Zvuv.
And there's Baal Agan.
There was, yeah. So there are a number of Baalim. That's why in the Navi, it says, it calls them Ha-Baalim, because there were all different versions of the Baal. Baal was just like a god of flies, the god of thunder, the god of so Baal is a rabbinic term meaning don't. Okay?
Well, Baal is don't. I thought-
And Al.
Al. I was about to say Al. I was about to say Al, yeah.
So Al is biblical. Baal is post-biblical.
And Al was made,
And
and
he's
Al was made a re sort of. Al's come back into what you say.
Well, yeah.
Al
because-
to the bear.
Right, no, because modern Hebrew is
Yeah.
based first and foremost on biblical Hebrew, not on right. So when we see this Bal Yiמצא, this is a technical nickname of sorts for the mitzvah, for a lav, right? The lav, a negative mitzvah. Should I write the English for all these things? Is that helpful? Not necessarily. That's a good one. That's an important one.
But when did Lord of the Flies? I don't. Where's that? Because the book is recent, so I'm now being a bit.
Yes, but they bowed down to a god, right? They made an avodah zarah.
I mean,
They
okay.
they reinvented Beelzebub in the
Yeah.
book.
And
Their society.
I mean, Beelzebub's in Ghostbusters, and it's in the Queen's song.
Yes, it's a very ancient
Yeah.
concept. Beelzebub. It's in the Navi. So it was around here 4,000 years ago, probably longer.
There's definitely a lot of flies here anyway.
So lav we said is a negative. Is this clear?
Yes.
Good. So whenever we see Baal something, that means we're referring to the mitzvah. Like Baal Tashchit. We've heard that one, right? Baal Tosif. These are the famous ones.
They're not mitzvah, they're a lot,
It's
I
in-
say.
It's a lotas.
Yeah, not mitzvah.
Kind of
okay,
mitzvah.
okay,
It's a
okay.
negative
Okay,
mitzvah.
fine, okay.
Right?
What is a Bal Timot? When do we say that?
Oh.
No one say that?
I will eat my words now. This is also biblical Baal. It's just not used in that sense biblically. Baal Timot, that's very good. That's from Tehillim. We see that on Kabbalat Shabbat. Tevel Baal Timot, right? So don't let it collapse. Don't let it be gone. The world. Tevel being the world. So, I guess it is biblical. Yeah. Missed that one.
My pleasure.
ולוקה.
ולוקה כל זמן שעשה בו מעשה כגון שחימץ יישא.
Finish the sentence and then start. Go back and try.
ולוקה כל זמן שעשה בו מעשה כגון שחימץ יישא והנחה בביתו או שלקח חמץ והצניעו בביתו.
Okay. Go back. Loke. What does loke mean?
To take.
No, that's lokeach. Loke with a hey.
It's like getting lashes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's to receive lashes. Okay. But loke, you receive lashes for this
All the time.
transgression.
כל זמן שעשה בו מעשה
Whenever he did an act, whenever he acted in order to achieve this state of possessing chametz, right? So we learned a few weeks back, I don't remember if you were here. I just put the video up a few days ago, so
Okay, cool.
you might not have had a chance to see it. That there are certain exemptions from lashes. There are certain situations, and one of them is a mitzvah, is a transgression that you did without taking an action. For instance, what was the instance we had there?
That was the
Written law.
no, it was doing not eating the
Not
the
eating
korban
the
pesach.
Pesach, right?
Having the korban pesach left over.
Right, but that wasn't even.
What is the kid?
Oh, it was right.
Yeah.
Right. There we had shalolo tir mitzvah pesach ad boker. Right. There's a prohibition to leave over the meat from the pesach until morning.
Yeah.
But how do you leave something over?
By not eating
You
it.
just don't eat it, right? It's you refrain from doing something, and therefore you got to that state. So when you got there by refraining, you didn't do anything. So you're not really punished for not acting. You're only punished for acting deliberately. So that's what's called lav she'en bo maase. Right? You did the lav, you transgressed, but in bo maase, you didn't do anything actively.
Got you.
So loke kol zman she'asa bo maase. Whenever he's done something,
Like unintentionally
acted
kind of a thing.
if it was unintentionally, that's not even made. Right now we're talking about mezid, right? Mezid is intentional. So we're talking about he intentionally left it in his house, but it was there beforehand. Just didn't get rid of it.
Got you. Yeah.
But how do you intentionally and deliberately, actively transgress having chametz in your house? So those are the examples he gives. What's a deliberate example? Kegon shechimetz yisa v'nicha bebeito. Right? On Pesach, he made chametz. He made sourdough.
Pizza.
He made a dough and just left it out and let it leaven. So that would be the transgression there is this. Shelo יימצא.
But I suppose on Pesach you can't bake matza.
You can.
You can.
It's tricky, but you can.
How? Flowers.
Oh, it's not chametz. No, it's not.
If flour were chametz, how would you make matzah out of it?
No, it's a rising thing. In fact, that's what they do. They make it a chametz. You got to keep it moving.
Some people are extra nervous about having anything made of grain in their house, so they'd get rid of flour too. But if they were being really careful, then they would get rid of their matzah also. Matzah is the closest thing to chametz. That's as dangerous as it gets.
That's why Chabad doesn't eat for 7 days.
No,
yeah, but they still eat matzah because they have to.
Yeah. No, but
Everybody has to
they
eat
don't-
matzah.
they don't eat
so
kebabs.
flour,
Yeah.
even flour that is not prepared for matzah, right? It's not shmura. It's not kemach shamur. Right? They didn't watch it. Didn't have it in a special room the whole time since it was ground. It's not chametz because if it had gotten wet, it turned to chametz. It would go bad.
yeah.
Right? It wouldn't act like normal flour, and you wouldn't be able to use it. So normal flour that's sold in stores has a chazaka, right? There's a fair and reasonable assumption that there's no chametz in it. So here we're talking about somebody who took the flour, mixed it with the water, right? Made a dough, and left it, and didn't cook it before it became chametz. Like that's making matzah on Pesach, which is allowed. Second example, Oshelakach Chametz Vitzni'o Beveito, right? He took chametz from an outside source. He went to the Russian bakery, the Arab bakery, and brought chametz home. Vitzni'o is from the word tzniut. It means to hide something, right? So he hid it in his house or just put it in the house. But he brought it home.
אבל אם לא עשה בו שום מעשה, אלא שנאמר
Nishar.
שנשאר בבית מקודם הפסח, אין לוקה עליו, שההלכה היא לאו שאין בו מעשה, אין לוקין עליו, כמו שאמרנו. But אם לא, if not, עשה בו, he did so.
If he didn't do with it, meaning in this case,
if it didn't buy it
Shuma
elsewhere,
said, he didn't do Shuma said, he didn't do anything at all, right? He didn't do any act.
אלא שנשמע, what is that?
Nishar.
שנשאר,
You know that word?
no?
Stay, to rest.
Right.
Ah.
It was left.
Was left at home before Pesach.
Right. It was just something that stayed. He had it before Pesach, and he left it there.
אין לוקה עליו, it wasn't
Remember this word? Okay.
yeah, it wasn't found, isn't it? No.
Doesn't get whipped. En lo ke'alav, he doesn't get whipped for it.
Thanks.
Now good.
That's the halakha. לא שאין בו מעשה, אין לוקין עליי כמו I don't get that last one.
Shehalachahi, the halacha
Yeah.
is
Yeah, that one I didn't get.
lav she'en bo maaseh. That's what we
A
discussed.
negative commandment
right?
which isn't we don't do anything for it.
Right, this is a good phrase to remember. Lav she'en bo maaseh. That's what it's called. The commandment that you transgress without doing anything,
Yeah.
without acting. En lokim alav.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You don't get
Lashes.
punished for it. That's him just finishing his thought. That is the end of this mitzvah. And probably we're out of time.
Yeah.